There is an error, a single navigational mistake that the majority of good, hardworking men and women make when they cross the 40-year threshold. This error has nothing to do with a lack of effort or a failure to save. It is an error in one's mental architecture, a fundamental misunderstanding of the physics of achievement that costs at a minimum an entire decade of financial progress. It is the invisible current that pulls you away from the shores of prosperity, even as you row with all your might. This flaw operates in the shadows of your consciousness, a silent saboteur of your best intentions, ensuring that your years of sacrifice yield only a fraction of their potential reward. It is the reason why the mountain of wealth seems to always remain a distant peak, no matter how hard you climb or how much you endure on your journey. Napoleon Hill, the great chronicler of success, dedicated his entire existence to identifying and exposing this singular mistake. He journeyed into the minds of the world's most formidable titans of industry, not merely to catalogue their habits, but to uncover the foundational principles that governed their ascent. He understood that the chasm between immense wealth and constant struggle was not forged by luck or circumstance, but by the application or ignorance of a specific, powerful law. His life's work was not a collection of motivational anecdotes. It was a forensic investigation into the blueprint of prosperity, a relentless search for the master key that could unlock any door to fortune. What he discovered was so profound, yet so simple, that it has been tragically overlooked by those who need it most, the very ones who labor under its oppressive absence. The solution he unearthed, the antidote to this lost decade, was not his invention. It was a rediscovery. It is a secret that has been hidden in plain sight for millennia, encoded within the pages of one of the most ancient and widely read books in all of human history. This is not about a new strategy or a clever business tactic. This is about aligning yourself with a timeless divine law that governs the creation of all great fortunes and legacies. The key to reclaiming your lost time and unlocking the door to exponential growth has been waiting for you, concealed within a wisdom that predates empires. The truth is, you have been trying to build a kingdom all by yourself, and that is the very architecture of failure we are here to dismantle today. Imagine the sensation of waking up long before the sun graces the sky. Before the house stirs, in the profound silence of the pre-dawn, the weight of the world gently settles upon your shoulders. It is a familiar weight, composed of mortgages, tuition fees, looming retirements, and the unspoken promises you've made to the people you love. This quiet hour, which should be a time for peace and reflection, so often becomes a silent battlefield of financial anxieties. You map out the day, the month, the year, constantly calculating and recalculating, a complex equation of survival and ambition. This isn't just planning. It's a form of mental armor you must put on each day, preparing to face a world that seems to demand more than it gives, a world that respects effort, but seldom rewards it proportionally. You are intimately familiar with that subtle tightness in your chest as you review the endless stream of outgoing expenses, a physical manifestation of the mental load you carry. It's the constant, low-grade hum of pressure that underscores every decision, every interaction. You perform the difficult alchemy of stretching resources, of patching leaks in the financial dam, of trying to build a reservoir for the future while navigating the droughts of the present. This burden is a lonely one. You may be surrounded by a loving family, but the ultimate responsibility for their security feels singularly yours. It's a silent pact you've made with yourself, a mantle of leadership that is as isolating as it is noble, forcing you to internalize fears that you believe no one else could possibly understand or alleviate. Your journey, for many years, has mirrored the ancient myth of a man condemned to push a colossal stone up a steep and treacherous mountain entirely alone. Picture the scene. The relentless sun beating down, your muscles screaming in protest, your hands raw and bleeding from the sheer, abrasive reality of the task. Every ounce of your being is focused on this singular, monumental effort. You see others on their own paths, some with smaller stones, some on gentler slopes, but your focus remains fixed on the immense weight before you. This stone represents your obligations, your dreams, and the heavy legacy you are determined to build. Each forward step is a victory of pure willpower, a testament to your unyielding spirit, yet the summit remains perpetually shrouded in mist, impossibly distant. The path itself seems designed to conspire against you. For every 2 steps of hard-won progress, the loose gravel of unforeseen circumstances, an unexpected medical bill, a sudden downturn in the market, a necessary repair, causes you to slide back one. Does this grueling rhythm not feel achingly familiar? It is the very definition of frustration. The feeling of running a race where the finish line is constantly being moved further away. You expend a Herculean amount of energy. You sacrifice your time and your passions, only to look back at the end of the year and find yourself standing in almost the exact same place you began. This lack of momentum is the cruelest trick of all, making your tireless effort feel not just difficult, but utterly futile. It is that quiet, insidious thought that creeps in during the stillness of the night, the one that whispers, "Am I truly doing enough? After all this time, is this all I have to show for it?" This is not a question born of self-pity, but of profound and justified confusion. You see others, who seem to work less and risk less, glide past you on their journey. You have adhered to the virtues of hard work, honesty and responsibility. You have played the game by the rules you were taught. So why does the prosperity you were promised, the financial peace that should be the logical outcome of your dedication, feel like an ever-receding mirage? This disconnect between effort and result is a source of deep, unspoken pain. With each passing year, the quiet concern intensifies into a more urgent, palpable fear. The boundless energy of your 20s and 30s has been spent, invested into this climb, and the returns have been frighteningly modest. The dream of a comfortable retirement, of creating generational security, of finally being able to rest and enjoy the fruits of your labor, begins to feel less like a concrete plan and more like a fragile hope. This is the silent panic that lives just beneath the surface of your competent exterior, the terrifying possibility that your life's greatest effort might not be enough to secure the future for those you have sworn to protect. The clock is ticking, and the sound grows louder with each sunrise. You carry this immense burden with a stoic and dignified silence, for you have been taught that this is the hallmark of strength. To the outside world, you are the pillar of reliability, the calm center in any storm, the one who always has the answer. But inside, behind the carefully constructed facade of control, there is a profound and aching loneliness. You believe it is your solitary duty to absorb the pressure, to solve every problem, to navigate every crisis without showing the strain. This self-imposed isolation, this belief that you must be the lone hero of your family's story, is the very core of your stagnation. You feel you cannot share the true weight for fear of being seen as weak or inadequate. Ultimately, the exhaustion you feel is not merely physical or mental. It is a spiritual fatigue. It is the deep, soul-crushing weariness that comes from pushing that massive stone day in and day out, year after year, without a single other hand helping to share the load. The true cost of this solitary path isn't just the decade of lost financial progress. It is the erosion of your life force, the dimming of your inner light. But what if I were to tell you that this entire lonely struggle, this heroic but flawed strategy, is built upon a fundamental lie? What if the mountain was never meant to be climbed alone? The true enemy preventing your ascent is not a person, a competitor, or a flawed economy. It is a deeply embedded and celebrated myth, an idea that has been sold to you as the highest virtue, the myth of the lone wolf. It is the seductive and treacherous belief that true strength is found in absolute self-sufficiency. Society has conditioned you to believe that the greatest glory comes from facing the storm alone, from solving every complex problem with the power of your own intellect, from carrying the entire weight of your world without uttering a single word of doubt. This philosophy of rugged individualism, championed in stories of heroic pioneers and solitary geniuses, has become the silent, unquestioned operating system of your life. It is this very programming that forces you to push the stone, convincing you that asking for help is an admission of failure. Let us be clear. The advice to be strong or rely on yourself is not entirely wrong. It is, however, dangerously incomplete. It is the wisdom of a foot soldier when you are meant to be a general. This mindset is a foundational stone for building character, but it is a catastrophic blueprint for building wealth and lasting impact. It keeps you locked in a cycle of linear effort where your results are directly and forever tied to the number of hours you can personally labor. We must draw a clear distinction between the path of solitary effort and the path of strategic alignment. The path of effort is noble, grueling, and tragically inefficient. It is your current reality. The path of alignment, however, operates on a completely different set of principles, understanding that true power is never generated in isolation. Our culture has taught us to stand and applaud the hero who slays the dragon all by himself. We celebrate this image of solitary conquest. But what the fables and legends conveniently fail to mention is that in the real, complex, and high-stakes game of prosperity, the solitary hero always loses to an aligned team. Always. The mindset of "I can do it all myself" is not the engine of your success. It is the heavy anchor dragging along the ocean floor. While you stand at the helm of your life, giving it all your strength, and wondering why you are making such little headway against the currents, this anchor of self-imposed isolation is holding you back. Your first act of true power is to recognize this anchor for what it is and find the courage to sever the rope. After 2 decades of unparalleled access to the minds of giants like Andrew Carnegie, Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, Napoleon Hill finally isolated the one principle that functioned as the absolute bedrock of every colossal fortune he investigated. He called it the mastermind. This was not a clever technique for business meetings or a simple strategy for networking. Hill identified it as a tangible force, a principle of spiritual physics. The mastermind is the phenomenon that occurs when two or more minds unite in a spirit of perfect harmony to achieve a definite purpose. He discovered that at the moment of this harmonious alignment, a third mind, an invisible, intangible, and vastly more powerful intelligence is created. This third mind has access to insights, creative solutions, and power that are utterly unavailable to any of the individual minds operating in isolation. But the truly profound revelation, the discovery that should stop you in your tracks, is this: what Hill codified in the industrial language of the 20th century was not in fact an invention. It was the rediscovery of a divine law that has governed human achievement for millennia. He had, through painstaking research, reverse-engineered a sacred technology of creation that had been articulated thousands of years prior. The ultimate source code for this immense power, the secret to ending the lonely struggle, was elegantly and mysteriously recorded in the ancient book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 3. What Hill gave the world was a modern manual for a timeless spiritual tool, a key that had been left in the lock waiting for someone to finally turn it. Listen, and let the weight of this verse settle into your spirit. The prophet asks, "Can two walk together except they be agreed?" Do not mistake this for a simple question about getting along with others. This is not a question, it is a code. It is the divine equation for the generation of power and the manifestation of intention in the material world. It is a universal law, as absolute as gravity, stating that forward momentum, the act of walking together towards a goal, is metaphysically impossible without the foundational prerequisite of agreement. This single stark pronouncement from antiquity, later proven by Hill's exhaustive research, contains the entire solution to your solitary climb. It reveals that the power to move the stone was never meant to reside within you alone, but in the sacred space created between you and another. Let us now dissect the error with the precision of a surgeon, for it is a cancer on your potential. The error, in its purest form, is the subtle but pervasive arrogance of self-sufficiency. It is the unconscious belief that your vision, your burden, and your path are so unique that you must walk them alone. It is the voice that whispers, "No one will understand this like I do," or "It is faster if I just do it myself." This is not the ego of a braggart, but a more insidious form of pride, a defense mechanism designed to protect you from the perceived risks of vulnerability, reliance, and trust. You have built a fortress around yourself to avoid being let down, but in doing so you have inadvertently created a prison that suffocates your own greatness. This protective arrogance manifests in a profound refusal to build true, soul-level alliances. You believe you are being responsible, but you are actually operating from a place of fear. Fear that sharing the burden will reveal a weakness. Fear that asking for counsel will expose your ignorance. Fear that another's input will dilute your vision, and so you carry the entire weight. You are the strategist, the laborer, the financier, and the sole emotional pillar of your enterprise. You hold all the cards close to your chest, believing this is a winning strategy, when in reality you are playing a multiplayer game with only one hand. True power is not in hoarding responsibility, but in harmoniously distributing it among aligned forces. Think of the sheer absurdity of one man attempting to build an entire empire alone. He would need to be the quarryman, the architect, the mason, the general, and the king, all at once. It is an impossible task, destined for failure before the first stone is ever laid. Yet this is precisely what you have been attempting to do in your financial life. You refuse to seek out a seasoned mentor because you feel you should already possess the answers. You avoid hiring the expert financial planner because it feels like an admission that you cannot manage your own affairs. You are trying to be every piece on the chessboard, a strategy that ensures you are spread too thin to ever truly command the board. This solitary approach is most damaging with the person closest to you, often your own spouse. In a misguided attempt to protect them from the stress of your financial reality, you shield them from the details. You present a curated version of the truth, filtering out the fears and the full scope of the challenges. You believe this is an act of love, but it is an act of profound disconnection. You are unintentionally robbing your union of its greatest potential power. You have your most powerful potential ally sleeping next to you every night, yet you have relegated them to the role of a worried spectator when they were destined to be your co-creator, your most essential mastermind partner, the other hand meant to help you move the stone. Let us revisit our man pushing the stone up the mountain. The arrogance of self-sufficiency is the very thing that psychologically cements his hands to the cold, hard rock. It is the unwavering belief that he is the only one with the strength, the willpower, or the dedication required for the task. This belief system renders him blind. It prevents him from ever pausing, from ever looking up from his grueling work to notice the levers and pulleys that lie unused by the side of the path. It prevents him from seeing that another person stands ready and willing to help, not out of pity, but out of a shared desire to reach the summit. He chooses the path of brute force because his pride has blinded him to the path of intelligent, synergistic power. The cost of this solitary path is not merely measured in lost time or money, it is measured in life force. When you operate alone, your single mind is tasked with carrying the entire energetic spectrum of your ambition. You must simultaneously hold the frequency of unwavering faith while battling the internal demons of fear and doubt. You must generate the creative vision while also executing the mundane operational tasks. This internal conflict, this constant switching between roles, creates a tremendous amount of psychic friction. It is a massive drain on your vital energy, leaving you exhausted and depleted before the real work has even begun. You are fighting a war on two fronts, one in the outside world and a far more draining one within your own mind. You are not just pushing a physical boulder, you are single-handedly trying to maintain the emotional and spiritual vibration of your desired reality. This is an exhausting and ultimately unsustainable role for any one human being. Imagine trying to power a city with a single generator. It will inevitably burn out. Your creative energy, your vital spark, is that generator. Without another aligned energy source to share the load, to hold the frequency of faith when yours is wavering, or to see the opportunity when you are blinded by the obstacle, burnout is not a risk. It is an inevitability. The state of stagnation you feel is the natural consequence of this profound energetic overload. To escape this trap, you must fundamentally redefine your understanding of strength. True strength is not the ability to bear an unbearable load alone. It is the wisdom and humility to recognize that the load was never meant to be yours alone to carry. The moment of your liberation will come not when you push harder, but when you finally surrender the belief that you must. It will arrive with the quiet, humble admission that your vision is too important, too grand, to be entrusted to the limited capacity of a single mind. This is the great paradox. Your greatest leap forward will be preceded by an act of surrender. This surrender is the key that unlocks the door to the mastermind principle. It is an acknowledgement that you are part of a larger whole and that your power multiplies when you connect with the right parts. The first, most critical step in reclaiming your lost decade is to silence your ego and speak a simple, powerful truth, either to yourself or to the heavens. I cannot, and I will not, do this alone anymore. This is not a confession of weakness. It is your declaration of readiness for a higher level of power. It is the activation of a divine law, the signal to the universe that you are finally ready to stop climbing and start soaring. And so, we arrive at the mastermind. But before we harness its power, we must be absolutely clear about what it is, and more importantly, what it is not. The mastermind is not the superficial networking group you join for a monthly fee. It is not your list of contacts on a social media platform, nor is it a casual brainstorming session over coffee. These are merely echoes, faint shadows of the true principle. The modern world has diluted this sacred concept into a transactional business tool, stripping it of its spiritual potency and its transformative power. To confuse these things with a true mastermind is to mistake a photograph of a fire for the fire itself. The authentic mastermind principle, as Hill defined it, is a profound act of spiritual and mental alchemy. It is the deliberate fusion of your consciousness with one or more other minds, all synchronized in a spirit of absolute, unwavering harmony and directed toward a single definite aim. It is a sacred alliance, a pact not just of shared goals, but of shared spirit. When this fusion occurs, something miraculous is born. The individual limitations of ego and intellect are transcended, and a third mind, a higher intelligence, comes into being. This is the invisible force that begins to orchestrate circumstances and attract opportunities that were previously unimaginable. Think of two small separate streams meandering through a forest. They each have a gentle current, a limited ability to carve a path through the landscape. But when these two streams converge, they do not simply become a slightly larger stream. They transform into a river. This new entity, the river, possesses a power and a presence that is exponentially greater than the sum of its parts. It can reshape canyons and carry immense burdens with effortless force. The mastermind is this river. The critical ingredient, the catalyst for this transformation, is harmony. Without perfect harmony, you simply have two streams flowing in parallel, their energies never truly merging, never becoming the river. Now you must ask, with whom can I form such a sacred alliance? Where is the other stream that can merge with my own? For most of you, the answer has been right in front of you all along, so close that it has been overlooked. Your most powerful and natural mastermind partner is very often your spouse or your committed life partner. For too long, a dysfunctional model of partnership has prevailed, one where life is compartmentalized. There is your career and there is their domain. This is not a partnership. It is a logistical arrangement. It is a tragic underutilization of the most potent creative force available to you. The harmonious fusion of masculine and feminine energies, when consciously directed toward a specific, shared purpose, creates a vortex of creative power that is almost unstoppable. When a husband and wife cease to operate as two separate individuals managing a household, and instead consciously merge their mental, emotional, and spiritual energies to function as a single, unified creative unit, they become a formidable mastermind. This alignment transforms a home from a place of rest from the world's struggles into a powerful incubation chamber for miracles, a command center from which you jointly speak your intentions into existence. This is the secret power hidden within every committed relationship. If your primary partnership is not the place to start, or if you seek to build another alliance, look around you. This is not about finding someone with the most impressive resume or the most capital. The essential criteria for a mastermind partner are spiritual, not material. Look for unwavering harmony and unshakable faith. Who in your life celebrates your success without a hint of envy? Who shares your core values so deeply that trust is implicit? Who believes in your highest vision even more than you sometimes do? This could be a trusted business partner, a sibling, or a mentor. The relationship must be a sanctuary of mutual support, where both parties are equally committed to a definite major purpose. Take a moment right now to perform a sacred inventory. Close your eyes, silence the noise of the world, and ask your inner wisdom this question: who in my life is already vibrating in natural harmony with my highest purpose? Do not analyze or strategize. Feel for the answer. Your intuition knows who these people are. The person whose name comes to mind is your starting point. Your next step is not to present them with a business proposal, but to approach them with a vulnerable and honest invitation. An invitation to consciously align your energies, to form a sacred pact, to stop pushing your stones on separate paths and start moving mountains together. This brings us to the source code of this entire principle, the ancient spiritual law that gives the mastermind its power. In the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 19, a world-altering formula is given. It says, "Again I say to you that if two of you agree on earth about anything that they may ask, it shall be done for them by my Father who is in heaven." For centuries, this has been interpreted as a simple promise related to prayer, but it is so much more than that. It is a precise scientific statement about the physics of co-creation. It is a universal technology of manifestation, and the activation key is the word agree. To truly grasp the power that is being offered to you, you must understand what this verse means by agree. It is one of the most tragically misunderstood words in all of sacred literature. The original Greek word used here is symphonio. Look closely at this word. Sum means together, and phonio means to sound or to voice. This is the root from which we derive our modern word symphony. To agree, therefore, does not mean to merely give intellectual consent or to share an opinion. It means to create a symphony together. It means to cause your minds, your voices, and your spirits to emit the exact same resonant frequency concerning your desire. Imagine your mind alone as a single radio transmitter. When you focus on a goal, you are broadcasting a signal of that intention out into the universe. That signal has a certain power, a certain amplitude. Now imagine a second transmitter, your mastermind partner, tuning to the exact same frequency and broadcasting the exact same clear, focused signal of intention. In the world of physics, this is called constructive interference. The two waves, being in perfect phase, do not simply add to each other. Their amplitudes multiply. They create a new single wave that is exponentially more powerful, more coherent, and more capable of impressing itself upon the creative substance of the universe. This amplified signal is what commands the attention of the organizing intelligence of the cosmos. It is a clear, powerful, harmonic broadcast that rises above the static and noise of ordinary, unfocused thought. This is the symphony that the heavens recognize. This is why the promise is so absolute. It shall be done for them. It is not a reward for good behavior. It is the statement of a law. When a signal of this magnitude and coherence is produced, the universe has no choice but to respond by organizing itself around that signal and manifesting its physical equivalent. The result is not a miracle. It is the natural outcome of a correctly applied spiritual law. Conversely, this law also explains why so many partnerships marriages, and teams fail to prosper despite their best efforts. They are not in symphoneo. One partner broadcasts a signal of hope, while the other simultaneously broadcasts a signal of fear about the bills. One partner holds the vision of success, while the other harbors a silent resentment about past failures. These conflicting frequencies create destructive interference. The waves of their intention cancel each other out, resulting in energetic chaos and silence. Their combined broadcast to the universe is nullified, a confusing static. They are pushing the stone in opposite directions, and their net result is stagnation and frustration. So how do you begin to create this symphony? How do you apply this law in the most practical sense? The application must be a deliberate and sacred ritual. Sit down with your chosen mastermind partner in a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Together, you must decide on one single primary financial objective you wish to achieve. This is critical. You must focus the power of your symphony on one definite purpose. Vague desires produce vague results. The more specific and clear your intention is, the more coherent the signal you will broadcast to the universe. Now you must write this goal down on paper. It must be written as a statement of fact in the present tense, as if it has already been accomplished. For example, do not write, "We want to be out of debt." Instead, write, "We are now joyfully celebrating our complete financial freedom, with all debts paid in full." Or, "We are now grateful and excited to see a consistent balance of X amount in our savings account." The language must be positive, emotional, and specific. This written statement becomes the musical score for your symphony, the precise frequency you're going to broadcast together. The final step is the ritual of activation. This is the moment you become the two instruments playing the symphony in perfect harmony. At least twice a day, once in the morning upon waking and once in the evening before sleeping, you will sit together, perhaps hold hands to create a physical circuit of energy, and you will read your shared statement of purpose aloud together. As you speak the words, you must do more than just recite them. You must feel the emotion of the fulfilled desire. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude, the security. You must both tune your entire beings to the vibrational frequency of your answered prayer. Do not underestimate the power of this simple ritual. This is not mere positive thinking. This is a focused, disciplined act of co-creation. It is the practical application of the law of the mastermind and the law of harmonic agreement. Each time you perform this ritual, you are strengthening your combined energetic signal. You are rehearsing your symphony, making it more powerful and coherent. You are jointly commanding the subtle forces of the universe to conform to your united will. This is how you stop pushing the stone. This is how you begin the sacred work of moving mountains together. This is the path to reclaiming not just your lost decade, but your divine inheritance of abundance. Imagine, just for a moment, what it will truly feel like to no longer be pushing that immense stone by yourself. Picture the dawn arriving not with a familiar weight on your chest, but with a quiet, shared excitement for the day ahead. Imagine the sensation of another pair of hands next to yours, another soul perfectly aligned with your own, pushing in the same direction, with the same rhythm, with the same unwavering faith. The strain in your muscles vanishes, replaced by a feeling of lightness and synergy. The grueling, solitary battle against gravity transforms into a powerful and graceful dance of co-creation. The mountain does not shrink, but your combined power grows so exponentially that the incline feels like level ground. This is the first taste of your new reality. Now imagine the sheer velocity of your progress. When two minds are locked in a state of perfect, harmonious agreement, your advancement ceases to be linear and incremental. It becomes exponential and immediate. Obstacles that would have stopped you in your tracks for months when you were alone now seem to dissolve as you approach. Solutions to once complex problems will appear in your shared consciousness with a clarity and simplicity that feels miraculous. The right people, the necessary resources, and the unforeseen opportunities will be drawn into your orbit, not by accident or luck, but by the powerful, coherent, magnetic signal that you are now broadcasting together into the universe. You will no longer be fighting against the current of life. You will become the current. That decade of frustration, of feeling stuck in the same place year after year, will not simply be recovered. It will be rendered completely irrelevant. The quantum leap you will make through the power of an aligned mastermind does not just make up for lost time. It propels you into a future so abundant it renders the past struggles meaningless. You will accomplish more in the next 3 years with a harmonized partner than you could have ever hoped to achieve in the next 15 years on your own. The past will cease to be a landscape of regret and will be seen for what it was, the necessary training ground that prepared you for this profound awakening and this unprecedented acceleration. In this new reality, your entire relationship with prosperity will be transformed. Abundance will cease to be something you relentlessly chase, and will instead become a natural consequence of your state of being. Wealth will no longer be the primary goal, but the inevitable byproduct of your shared harmony and the immense value you create together. The focus of your life will shift from the grind of working for a living to the joy of creating from alignment. This is the ultimate liberation. Not just freedom from debt or financial worry, but freedom from the very struggle itself, where your outer world of success becomes a flawless mirror reflecting your inner world of profound connection. Therefore, your call to action today has nothing to do with the external world. It is not to like this video, to leave a comment, or to subscribe to this channel. Those actions are hollow and meaningless without the corresponding internal transformation. Your true work begins when this video ends. It is a sacred and silent task, one that requires you to deliberately turn away from the noise and distractions of the world and enter the quiet sanctuary of your own soul. The answer you have been desperately seeking is not out here in the world of information. It is waiting for you in the stillness within. The entire trajectory of your life can be altered by the sincere asking of a single, humble, and profoundly courageous question. In the quiet moments that follow, I want you to go to that inner sanctuary and ask your deepest self this, with all the sincerity you can muster. Who is the one who needs to be in perfect agreement with me to fulfill our shared divine purpose? Do not rush the answer. Let it rise from your heart, not your head. The name, the face, the presence of your most natural mastermind partner will be revealed to you. The simple act of asking this question with an open heart is the first turn of the key in the lock. Your journey to reclaim a decade and to build a legacy of true prosperity does not begin with a new budget, a new investment, or a new business strategy. It begins in the profound humility of that one question. It begins with the courage to go to the person your heart revealed to you, to lay down the heavy armor of self-sufficiency, and to invite them into the sacred circle of co-creation. It starts with the conscious decision to elevate your most important relationship from one of simple companionship to one of dynamic, world-shaping power. This is the first step on the path of alignment. Leave this space today with this singular, immutable truth resonating in the very marrow of your bones. Carry it with you into your evening and let it greet you in the morning. Meditate on it. Allow it to dismantle the old architecture of struggle and build a new foundation of synergistic power within you. For the law was, is, and always will be this. Prosperity is not a solitary conquest. It is a symphony of aligned minds.